Okay, last one I promise. I'm gonna do 6 through 9 here really quickly. Again, a lot of it's becoming very redundant, right? So number 6. I didn't see a clear thesis statement within option 6. So if I were doing the activity where you're voting on one and I was looking for something to copy and paste as the thesis statement, I couldn't necessarily identify that. So that's, of course, an issue. However, there are elements evident throughout. For example, the author says italics and tone, but they're not included in one succinct thesis statement. Like another one that preceded this one included more analysis in the introduction than it did with relevant context. I would again give this one the thesis point because there is an intended purpose and there are devices in it. However, I could also see it not getting the point. So this one I am truly torn up. Okay, 7. 7, just like 5, included irrelevant context in the introduction, which led me to believe that research was conducted. Remember that all of the context should be relevant to the prompt and relevant to the purpose. It doesn't necessarily matter that his kids were a motivator in him acting nonviolently. Certainly important, but not necessarily here to this prompt and this intended purpose. Also, didn't see a thesis statement. What is the intended purpose? What are the strategies? Would this one get the thesis statement? I would say it probably would not. It would not get the point. Look how much writing, though, that this person did. And in a timed environment, look at how much time this would take to not get the point. And if you don't get that thesis statement point, those rest of those points just are going to be very hard to achieve as well. So this is a really great example of less is more. All right, option 8, moving on. It appears to me that all of the context that was included in this introduction could be gathered from the prompt, and it was all relevant, so kudos to that. I see that there are 3 clear rhetorical strategies: word choice, sentence length, and metaphor, so that's awesome. And I do see that there's a clear intended purpose and that the thesis statement is in one sentence. So I really like that. The only thing I would say is, again, you have no choice but to use words and you have no choice but to use sentences. So can we get an adjective before it indicating what you're specifically going to look at? Okay, and finally, option 9. Allusions are misidentified. That was a problem, right? If you're going to use something, you want to make sure that you are specifically articulating the actual definition or a specific example that represents the actual definition of the strategy. An allusion is a reference to another text. Okay, so if I were to say, what would I say? If I were to allude to, like I often do, Romeo and Juliet in class, don't y'all miss that? That's an allusion, right? So I'm using an example from another pretty well-known text in order to make a point. There's also some awkwardness within that automatically makes me think this wouldn't get the sophistication point. Awkwardness includes things like intelligent sounding. There's some irrelevant context throughout. And also, a note specific to this thesis statement, but then also to all of them is please make sure that you're ending with that thesis statement, okay? Is that always necessary? No, but I think that for our purposes, it's really important that we put it at the end of the introductory paragraph. All right, so those are my notes. If you have specific questions about your thesis statement, feel free to email me. I'd be happy to talk with you on a one-on-one basis or with your partner. And I'm looking forward to seeing who you're voting for number 1. And I'll share my thoughts about that later this week. Have a good rest of your day.